In this tutorial I will explain how to use the frosted glass Photoshop action so that you can create this effect very easily from your photos. Now this is the image produced by the action. You can see like this if you want. And this is the original image. Now, what the action does is create multiple layers, some containing the background. You can have certain colors as you want for the background, while the other layers contain the subject, and there are multiple layers of the subject because what the action allows is you can control every part of the focus area, so you can have a more distanced area from the front of the glass, which is the distance area of the subject, where you can have custom blur amount. You can have an area which is closer to the front of the glass wall, and you can set the blur you want. And of course you can have the area which is closest to the glass wall panel, and this area will have very little blur, will be a bit foggy, and you can control it also if you want. You can add blur to it. You can make it more or less visible using a simple brushing. So you can brush on a mask and control this area too. Now, basically this is what the action does. You also have some light effects that you can add. You can control what is the texture of the glass window. And you can do this, as I said, very easily with just a couple of clicks. So in order to use the action, we will we will work on this image. I'll delete everything. It's a JPG image. It has a locked background layer. Okay, it is around 2500 pixels in height. This is a good size. The image is in RGB mode with 8 bits per channel. You can see that in image mode. Okay, so before we will do anything, we will load the action. We can do this from the actions panel, so make sure you have the actions panel toggled on from the window actions. So we have the actions panel here. I will click on this little button and then load actions and load the frosted glass action. Click on load, And now I have the action here. It is a folder containing a single action. Okay. One more thing, the action uses some brushes. It is a brush containing the light effect and the brush containing the brush you use to mark which area will have more or less focus. Okay, so to load the brushes, I will go to the brush tool, click on here, then here, load brushes, and load the frosted glass brushes. So this file is containing the brushes that the action requires. So you must load them before running the action. Okay. Also make sure that your brush tool, which is selected here, is set to opacity 100%. Okay. So before we run the action, we must mark in our image, we must mark the area of interest, because what the image has is a subject which we want to be editing later, and it has a background. Okay, so I will create a new layer and name this layer brush with capital B. So notice the capital B, it's important the action uses the layer with the capital B. Okay, and now I will use the main Photoshop round brush. It's a bit bigger, make it smaller. I will use this brush to mark our subject as well as I can. So on the brush layer, doesn't matter what color I use, I will brush an overlay of the subject, something like this. It doesn't need to be perfect. The action will take care of the rest. So there is something like this. It won't take long. Okay, try to make the area that you brush stay inside the shape of the subject, so don't go out. Okay. So right now I marked the subject, and now we are ready to run the action. I will select the frosted glass action and click on play. And now the action is working. It is producing all the layers. Okay, and this is the result. As you can see, the subject is fully covered in blurriness from the glass panel that we have. So as you can see, the last layer that the action selects, it is actually a group with a black mask, called brush mask to reveal subject parts in full focus. And the action has already selected a brush that we can use to brush right here, right now, on this black mask. We can brush over the subject to reveal some parts which will be totally focused. So if I brush here, I will start to reveal part of the subject. Okay, I will show you a trick. I'll undo. If I set the brush opacity to a lower value, the effect is even more interesting. I can brush a couple of times. So I will have also a focused area, but also a little bit of blur in the details using a lower opacity when brushing. Okay, so I brushed this part. You can see what I brushed over here. So this mask shows us subject in full focus, which is this layer. Behind it, there is also a mask to reveal some light in our scene. I'm gonna use the same brush. I will increase the size 2500 pixels, and I will brush, let's see, on the outer edge with 100% opacity. So this adds some light to our subject. It's a diffuse light coming from behind. Okay. I'm scrolling down. You can see there is a mask which we can brush to reveal areas which are closer, that meaning more in focus. So I'm gonna reduce the size of the brush, and we can brush an area such as the forehead, some part of the hair, the face. I'm gonna make it smaller here, part of the cheeks. Okay, so these areas are more in focus, so they are blurry, but they are not very blurry, such as his shirt. Okay. One more thing which I can do, I can go to the full focus area, which is this layer, and brush the nose to make it more visible. Or I can leave it like that. Okay. So basically this is everything you need to brush. From now you can control the areas that you brushed. For example, the area which is closer to the subject, which is most of the face. So the area is contained here in this group. It has this black mask which we brushed, and there is this layer inside the group. This is the layer that controls the basically medium distanced area. It has a Gaussian blur applied. I double clicked on it, and you can set the blurriness as you want. Okay, there is also the distance area, which you don't have to brush because it's the rest of the subject, this layer. It also has a Gaussian blur that you can increase or decrease in blurriness. Okay, besides that, there is a light ray in the scene, this layer. You can also set its own color. Maybe you want something specific. It's your choice. Okay. Also, there is the frosted glass texture itself, which is in this layer. There are multiple layers in this group. As you can see, this is how it looks with it on and without. There is a water droplets simulation. There is a simulated water texture, or maybe part of the glass as you consider it. And there is the frosted glass itself. It has a glass effect applied that you can also edit. And set your own values. You may want to preserve the simulated water texture layer, or maybe decrease it in opacity. Also, the frosted glass layer is set to only 25% opacity. You can increase it or decrease it as you want. Okay. You may want to, I don't know, remove all the areas which are fully focused and keep a totally blurry aspect with harsh, rough glass texture. So basically you have control of the areas that can be seen or cannot be seen. You may create an effect such as you saw in the preview file, where a nude subject is totally blurred by the frosted glass wall. Or you may create this half see-through effect. You may improve the effect by adding an area where the frosted glass is not visible at all. Sorry. I will hide the brush layer which was left on and have the effect like this. So it's up to you what effect you create. I believe there are quite some possibilities that you can explore here. To create the effect that you want. Basically, this is it. Thank you very much for watching my tutorial.